At Direct Service Garage Doors, we are your one-stop shop for all things garage door. From garage door repair and broken spring replacement to new garage doors and openers, we do it all. We're proud to be among the highest-rated local garage door companies in all of Central Arkansas. Our highly trained technicians are available 24 hours a day at no extra cost to you. So if you have an emergency, call us today, 501-244-3667, or visit our website at directserviceoverhead.com. Don't wait days. We'll fix it now.
All right, everybody, welcome. Friday. Thank you. God above, it's Friday. Let's do this, huh? We got a lot to talk about. 3, 2, 1. How do my eyes look? Oh, they look a little better. They look a little bit better. The hair, not so much, as per usual. I've been told, the boss told me, my wife that is, go get a haircut today. All right. First off, I want you guys to like the stream if you could. That would be fantastic. Share the content. Subscribe if you're new here. We added a few folks. Splitting time between here and Hogville, fighting an illness recently, as you could probably tell by my voice, or if you listened to me yesterday on Hogville. Actually, this goes all the way back to Friday. Has kind of cut into my to the growth of the channel just a little bit, especially going and working for Hogville and helping build that channel from the ground up. 82 subs when I took over, I think it was. Now over 1,300 subscribers. We passed the 1,000 mark by September, the beginning of September, if I remember right. So what is the math on that? I joined in, mid-June, July, a few months. So the growth continues over there. I will not be doing any basketball tomorrow for Hogville. This is it. This will be it. I'll be done until I get back from vacation, which will be I'll probably be back the 11th, so I wouldn't expect any content from me until probably the 12th. So it'll be a little bit. All right. Shout out to Patreon supporters. I don't have the Patreon hasn't sent me an updated list yet. But you guys know who you are. I do appreciate each and every one of you. Look at those names. They're all so sexy. Tyler Edmondson, Daniel Hadley, Timothy Wiesent, Randall Hunt, George Rector, Anthony White, John Goodman. Those are OGs right there. William Watkins has been around for a minute. My mods are both on there. I believe all my mods are on there, actually. I think. There's Lasuzo Eagle Gaming. That's Mike, our administrator. Austin's on there somewhere. There he is. There's Austin. Haas is on there as well. Look at you guys. You guys are just rock stars. Appreciate each and every one of you. Also to the sponsors. Also not able to do this without you guys. Right? Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. You guys know what's up. They offer same-day services. Free estimates, quality parts, affordable outcomes, better than best results. 501-244-3667 to get a hold of Direct Service Overhead, the garage door company. Also, Apex Tattoo Studio. If you're looking to get some ink done, give these guys a call, 479-278-2694. They're located at 615 West Oak Street in Rogers, Arkansas. All right. Also, I find it interesting. People still complain about the ads at the beginning. Like, look, man, I got to get paid somehow. Like, I don't know what the hell to tell some of you people. Like, I got to get paid somehow to do this, right? If you don't like the content, that's fine. Move along. Go watch Trey Biddy. Go watch the guys at Rivals. They all do good work. That's fine. Stop bitching about the ads. Like, oh, I gotta fast forward the beginning. Oh no, then do it. Just fast forward a couple, a few minutes. It's not that hard. I'd recommend you stick around. maybe, who knows, maybe you need some garage door repair. Maybe you want to get inked up. Pretty sure if you walk into Apex and you tell them Ty sent you, I think, don't quote me on this, just ask. Pretty sure they'll give you a discount. Ty's a cool guy. So I don't know, maybe stick around for those ads. They might come in handy. Join the Patreon. They don't have to run the ads. Ta-da! There you go. Yeah, it'd take quite a few more people, though. I'm not going to lie. Those 2 minutes of ads are life-altering. Apparently so. People just don't know the fast-forward button. People on Facebook had someone complain, said that it was, what did he say? A couple of minutes of dribble and he was out. He didn't like it. Oh, man. I don't know what we're going to do without some of those people. All right. Did you see that Missouri refuses to play Kansas in the Liberty Bowl? I had heard something about that. That's interesting considering that's supposedly a rival. You'd think that you'd think Mizzou would jump at that opportunity. I don't know. That's a little bizarre. That's strange. Are they just intimidated? They're going to get their asses kicked by KU? Has Arkansas ever played KU in a bowl game? I don't think they have. You look tired still, bro. I'm still feeling it. I'm not going to lie. Join Patreon, you fools. Yeah, remember, like, share, subscribe. Happy Friday, everyone. Indeed. What's going on, Daniel Campbell? How you doing, sir? They need to offer Maddox Lassiter from Warren. Dude, is that the sophomore wide receiver? They got a sophomore wide receiver that's tearing it up. I don't have the kid's name in front of me right now. The boss is tired of that homeless look. Go Hogs for Life is obsessed with how I look on camera. Like, I thought we were all a bunch of bros just talking sports, and a few ladies as well. No disrespect to the ladies. For whatever reason, folks are – I love you, Hogs for Life. I do. You're here. You watch the content, but you are the only person every week who has to have that comment. I don't understand it. It's not that bad. In the 70s, this was up to date, okay? I call this the Luke Skywalker haircut. Thank you. You definitely don't sound like ass as much today, bro. I was feeling it. Warren wide receivers equal money. That's right. Ty, you're a sexy man. Thank you. Got to give you some shit, bro. Okay. All right. Just a little, little elbow, yeah, all right. What's going on, Paul? How you doing, man? So, Arkansas, and by the way, for anyone who is new here, yeah, I treat this like a radio show. I treat this like a show. So, if you want just boom, straight to the point kind of content, yeah, go to Trade Biddy, go to Rivals, absolutely. I'm a different thing entirely. And I've had someone say, well, you can't grow your audience when you're like that. You know what? Okay, you might have a good point there, but I think I've grown the audience I have because of the way this show is formatted. It's different. I interact with my chat. I say hi to everyone. I acknowledge my Patreon supporters. I acknowledge my sponsors. So, final thing on that. But someone's always got a bitch about, just get to the point. Well, you know what? When you turn on, have you listened? Now, I'm not trying to throw anybody under the name. Have you listened to sports talk radio in Northwest Arkansas or in the state lately? Do you listen to Ruskin and Zach? Like, they'll even tell you we're not a sports talk show. We're more entertainment. I feel like I'm more sports talk here than they are, but I also have a smaller sample size. I get, how many hours a week, roughly? They have to do it for 3 hours. That's got to be hard, man. So that's the way I'm formatted. If you don't like it, I don't know. Take your ass on somewhere. I don't know what to tell you. But for those of you who are here regularly and enjoy the content, I do this for you guys, and you know it. Yeah, it's great that sponsors and Patreon supporters are here. I'm unable to do this without them, but I'm also unable to do this without you as well. All right, Arkansas. I don't even know where to begin. There's so much going on. We could start with the bowl. Actually, I got a better idea. Let's talk about the returning pieces on the defensive line for 2023. Let's talk about the returning pieces up front. You got a couple guys, got a couple bros coming back on the defensive line. A couple of stud muffins. This is from Otis Kirk on Hogville.net. Both redshirt senior defensive end Jordan Dominic, who had, 7 sacks on the year? I don't know. I think that's pretty cool. And redshirt freshman defensive tackle Cameron Ball announced on Twitter they will return for the 2023 season. Dominic, who transferred in from Georgia Tech, will use his COVID season in 2023. Remember, you get that 1 year back from 2020. You get that back. Ball had mulled over going to the portal when it opens on Monday, but instead will stay with the Hogs. Both are great news for Arkansas. I can't tell you how huge that is. I'll be honest, I didn't see Jordan Dominic coming back. I really didn't. I thought he'd move on with life. They have had 3 different defensive line coaches in 3 years. Are they keeping the guy that's there right now? Are they going to keep? Are they going to keep Michael Schur at linebacker coach? Talking about the linebackers you want to come back. Michael Schur's been big time. Deke Adams has been great for Arkansas up front on the defensive line. Cam Ball coming back is huge. I can't tell you how big I think that is for that young man's growth. That's big. Michael Schur, I think they need to get him back one way or another. Jimmy Smith, like a lot of people could argue, Jimmy Smith might be of this entire bunch the guy that you really want to come back next year. We know the assistant, the strength conditioning is up in the air. Got a couple former Razorbacks in the mix. Tank Wright, one of them. I like Tank Wright a lot. Kiro Small, the other. But I got to admit, Deke Adams has been – I wasn't really sure what Arkansas was getting out of him. I know he's a veteran. He's been around for a while. He's been a defensive line coach at a lot of places. South Carolina. I think he coached Jadeveon Clowney, if I'm not mistaken. Didn't he also recruit Jadeveon Clowney? Or am I wrong on that? I always thought, my biggest thing about Clowney, who's so overhyped in the league. He was so overhyped in the league, and the guy did nothing. I know he ran into some injury stuff at Houston, but – still, at the college level, we all know how beastly that guy was. Yesterday, Ty was looking like Macho Man Randy Savage. Yeah, I'm not going with the sunglasses today. I'm not going with the shades today. I figured my eyes are looking a lot better. I was. Oh, yeah. See, it's hard to... I can't even do that. Damn. HTL or Test Talk with Ty. We have the better Ty. Oh, don't say that. I appreciate that, but Ty Richardson's a good dude. I like Ty Richardson. He's a good guy. Deke Adams will have an absolute unit to work with next year. I really thought the defensive line was pretty damn solid this year. When, for the most part. I know they had their issues. I know the run game, I kind of look at that as a scheming issue, not so much a talent problem up front on the defensive line. I didn't look at it as a talent problem this year. I really didn't. It's really hard for me to look at some of the numbers. Like, they were a top 12, top 15 run defense for the first 5-6 weeks of the season. And then they got exposed a little bit. I think it was Alabama that really cut them wide open first. A&M did a little bit of damage, but you started to kind of see, all right, teams weren't having a lot of success running the football in Arkansas, so they're opening it up and throwing behind the back end of your defense. The secondary, and then I think it got worse, right? So it probably did pad the run stats up a little bit for the defense. It probably did. It absolutely had an effect. Teams knew, okay, we'll just throw the ball. We'll have success. Sure, but I still think they did a pretty good job up front. I mean, when you run a 3-man front, you still can't. When you still struggle against the pass, and you're only bringing 3, possibly 4 every other series, you're bringing a 4th. And then every other series, you might start blitzing a little bit and becoming more aggressive. I think at the end of the day, their run defense was okay. I can't imagine what they would have done had they been able to run a steady 4-man front. I think their numbers would have been a lot better. I think their run numbers would be better. They're not great. So it's huge getting Cam Ball back. And Jordan Dominic, who ended up with, I think it's 6.5 sacks, according to ESPN. But those are two guys. Now they know the system. They've played. They've had opportunities. Cam Ball had some moments this year where he just flat out dominated the guy in front of him. In SEC play, too, which is saying a lot for a young man who's only been in this league for a couple of years. Question is, what's next, too, with this staff? Strength conditioning staff, which has, I think, been all wiped out. I think they ended up actually firing the real numbers closer to 4, but that's a part of that staff. But the coach, that's that coach's staff. So we'll wait to see what happens there. But then who's next? Are they going to cut Bowman? That's been everyone's favorite go-to guy. When talking about the non-coordinators, the guys that need to go, I'm not saying I agree or disagree. I will say I think he kind of walked into a messed up situation. It was already not good. Then they ran into injuries. And then you got the move for Hudson Clark to go from corner to middle safety. Dwight McLaughlin got more and more comfortable in the secondary. He started standing out every week. I mean, he got burned a couple of times, but my God, I mean, this is the SEC. You're always dealing with 4- and 5-star talent nearly every week. You're up against potential first, second, third round talent like every other week in this league, maybe every week. And then, of course, Quincy McAdoo. Now, if we're willing to sit here and say that that Bowman deserves discredit for maybe keeping Hudson Clark at corner, I don't know if that was his call or if that was Barry Odom's call or if that was Sam Pittman's call. I don't know. If that was done under Bowman's recommendation, I don't know. What I will say is he deserves credit for the job that he did with Quincy McAdoo and Hudson Clark. He deserves credit for a transfer in McLaughlin and Brenny coming in and settling in their spots. Now, were they out of position? Were they missing tackles? Were they getting beat? Was Hudson Clark getting beat in man-man coverage? We know he was. That's not a shock. We sat here and told you Hudson marks he checks every single box outside of speed. And then what do you know? You move him to middle safety and he has a pretty good impact. He has a solid impact on the field. I don't know, man. I don't know that moving away from Dominic Bowman's the right move or not. I really don't. If this were year 2 or 3 and they felt like that was the direction, you also got to look at the recruiting. You got a couple potential 4-star corners or DBs coming in next year, and we'll see what they do in the portal. I'm not on either side of that. I don't know that you should or you shouldn't. I don't know. I would lean more towards no. I think you got to give him another year. You got to give him another year. I think he walked into. I mean, that's where I'm leaning. Right. I'm not there. I'm not concrete there yet. I know someone's going to blast me. Ty, they were out of position all the time. That's got to go on the corner coach. Maybe it does. I don't know. But I think we've all agreed that Arkansas's least talented area on the field is within the secondary. Even with Jalen Catalon and Miles Slusher, you would argue that that's probably your least talented area on the field. Maybe that and tight end. Tight end was a catastrophe. You don't have a lot of options at tight end behind Trey Knox. And I don't know that I put that entirely on Dow Loggins. Maybe you do. I don't know. That's the other guy, too, I think people believe could be the next possible guy leaving this staff. I think we're just going to have to wait and see. Or is he the next OC if Kendall Browse moves away, if he takes another job? What about Jimmy Smith? Jimmy Smith, obviously not a guy you want to lose. But does someone come along and offer him a special spot on their staff or something more? There's going to be some more shakeups. It just feels like it. What about Scott Fountain? We can just go on down this list. Barry Odom, who, by the way, what part of the defense is he responsible for? secondary. Well, safeties. I think that's his speciality too when he was back in his assistant days. But he coaches safeties. That's his spot. Look it up, ArkansasRazorbacks.com. And then you go back to, well, why the hell did Blair keep playing? Who coached the safeties? Now, I'm not saying that Odom deserves criticism for that. I'm also not saying that he needs to be fired either. I'm not in that camp. I don't know that I look up and down this roster of coaches and I'm like, no, fire him. I can't do that. That's just hard for me to do. Are there some guys that I think they need to go into the film room and do a little bit of, I don't know, a little bit of film watching together? Probably. Yeah, there's probably about 3 or 4 guys, and Odom would be in that camp. Kendall Browse would be in that camp. I think Scott Fountain would be in that camp. Absolutely. And then whatever Sam Pittman decides to do, he decides to do. He and Hunter Yurchek come together, and they say, all right, it's time to maybe think about some other options. Maybe that's what they do. You guys know, I'll sit here and tell you, I was a pretty big skeptic of Scott Fountain. And then you got a kicker established. All of a sudden, you weren't kicking the balls out of bounds. They didn't have a single out-of-bounds kickoff this year, I don't think. That's a huge improvement from a year ago, but they continue to have penalties on special teams. Wasn't as constant this year. What about Kenny Guyton? What about the job that he did? Like, as fans, you have to kind of sit down and be real about it to some degree, but you also have a right to be a fan and to criticize and to be skeptical about, well, what did Dow Loggins do with the tight ends these last 2 years? What did Kenny Guyton do in his first year? What did Bowman and Deke Adams, what did these guys really do? What did their positions, what did they really do this year? What did the safeties do? What did Barry Odom's defense do this year? Oh, I don't know. Finished really low yet again in almost every defensive category that exists. Outside of sacks, they were fantastic at getting after the quarterback. Kind of sucks that didn't translate into even more takeaways and more wins. But there were also times this year where the defense absolutely stepped up. And you can argue the second half of the season that happened more often than it didn't. First half of the season, no, they were awful. They were atrocious. Brian Frazier, I didn't miss any other super chats, did I? I don't think I did. Frazier with the super chat. Ty, I really don't care what they do as long as it equates to a 9 or 10 win season, maybe better. That's fair. That's fair, Brian. I get it. I like Bowman. The cupboard was pretty bare this year. It's just been Glassford. I think you're right. I think they need to keep Bowman. I really do. I think what he's doing in recruiting, and we're going to see what he can do in the transfer portal this year. They were getting burnt with Cat and Slush on the field. They were. I'm surprised it hasn't been an exodus in the tight end room. Oh, I feel that one coming, Paul. I feel that one coming. I'm excited to see what Pooh does with a full season as a starter. Yeah, and an entire offseason where he works with the ones, too. That'll be fantastic. Ty's been smoking the sticky icky. No, he's been getting his ass kicked. Hey, from Texarkana, what's up, William Richards? How you doing, man? Hope if you're new here, feel free to like the stream. We've got 15 likes. We can do better than that. Come on now. We can break 50 today, right? We could break 50 likes. Let's get the likes up, fam. Come on now. No more three-man front, says Brian Frazier. I agree with that as well. Ben Glassford says another year for Landon Jackson will be big too. He's going to be a good one. Yeah, keep your eyes on that big man. Can't wait to see him at defensive end next year. I kind of felt like in fall camp and even week-to-week camp, I wonder if he didn't kind of have a hard time. You know, he's been at 3 different schools in 2 years when you think about it, right? Or in 3 years. High school, LSU, Arkansas. You got to wonder if he just didn't, he was still kind of feeling out what he was doing there. Now he's going to get an entire offseason where he's going to be with this team, assuming he doesn't hit the portal. You just never know anymore. He's going to get an entire offseason to mesh with these guys. I think he was pretty damn special. And I'm telling you right now, I've talked to multiple media people who said when they had an opportunity to watch him either on film or in person, he's one of the best defensive ends they have ever seen play the game of football. And that's saying a lot, man. He was a highly regarded 4-star, if I remember right. Given our schedule next year, with 7 or 8 wins, feel like a quote-unquote bad season. I think at the end of the day, fans don't care about strength of schedule. When the dust settles and the year's over with, look at this year. You had I don't know where they finished in terms of SOS. I don't know where they finished. Fans are not happy with 6-6. And you can argue this was a really tough schedule, especially when you see how good South Carolina turned out to be. Cincinnati was still solid. I guess that was a quality win. I guess I'm coming around to that. You see what you did against Ole Miss? Quality team. I think they're a quality opponent. Never bought into the top 15, top 10 rank. I think they were a quality opponent. You spanked them. You spanked that ass. That's what you did to Ole Miss. Fans they're still not happy because you lost to Mizzou. I think at the end of the day, fans wouldn't care. This is why I never bought into the, well, you'd rather win more. You would rather win 7 games in the SEC than 9 games in the Big 12. Remember that argument when fans were talking about Arkansas needing to leave the SEC? People still say that. No, I think at the end of the day, fans just want to see more wins. 6-6 every year is not going to cut it. I don't care what the strength schedule is. It's not going to cut it in the SEC with fans. It's not. It really won't. Landon would have came to Arkansas if not been for Chad Morris. Tristan, you got the flu tie. I don't know what it is, man. I've had it since last Friday. If you guys remember, I was on here and my throat was closing up, and then I was losing my voice. And I've still have done some shows since then, but it's been pretty brutal. I'm not going to lie to you. It's been pretty brutal. I feel like we all thought this Monday was going to be pack it up day, but I think, yeah, it's this coming Monday for sure. I'll be gone. I'll be in Mexico. I started getting a sense about mid-season there was an internal problem. Did it seem that way to you? I don't know about an internal problem. I don't know about that. But you started to see this pattern by week 4. Well, there's something really wrong with this defense. There's something not clicking them with this defense. And I knew from that point on. I even said it in one of my Hogville picks. I don't remember which one. But I said it's getting really difficult to pick Arkansas. And it was a reoccurring theme with the defense at the time. The offense wasn't perfect by any stretch of the imagination. Their third down numbers were good. But the 2 areas that continued to haunt this offense was productivity out of the red zone. They were bottom 3 in the SEC, bottom 4 all year long. They were ranked in the 100s at one point after week 2 or 3, if I recall. And scoring offense. There just something wasn't clicking with this team going into week 4, going into week 5. Something just was weird. And I had this conversation internally with another media member. I remember saying this. I feel like Arkansas might be headed to a non-bowl year. Now, I ended up being wrong. Thank God I was wrong. Thank God they're going to a bowl game. These extra practices are big, especially with all the changes that are coming, right? More opportunities for Jordan Dominic to get better, for Cameron Ball, for Landon Jackson, for Pooh Paul, names we've already kind of mentioned, right? More opportunities for these guys to get better. But something told me after like week 5, man, I don't know if these guys are going bowling. I wouldn't dare come out and say that at the time publicly just because I didn't know if I really believed that or not, but at the same time, I kind of did. If you guys in our Discord, someone posted, are the pigs going bowling? Look at my GIF reaction to that. It was, and this was like week 5, week 6. Like if you follow me enough, you'll pick up on where I'm at that given point in time. Go back and look. Go scroll through there. I was not sold. I don't know if they're going bowling. And again, I was wrong. Thank goodness for that. Flu is bad here in NWA lately. Yeah, no, I went to the doctor. I've tested negative for the flu for COVID and for strep. Don't know what this is. But talking to the, I think it was a nurse practitioner, she was like, we've had a lot of flu come through here, a lot. Flu and COVID were the two big ones, flu being the most. Fans expect 6 to 8 wins a year with wins over Mississippi schools. And go to a bowl game every year, every third year win 9 or 10. Well, you say not too much to ask for, though. I'll tell you this much. How often has that happened? How many 10-win seasons do you have since you've been in this conference since 1992? Actually, I think that is kind of hard to ask for. I agree with you. That should be the expectation. Or that should be something plausible for Arkansas football. It should be. It just hasn't been. It hasn't. Go back to who was the coach when we entered the SEC? Was it Jack Crow? And then he got fired. And then you had the interim coach who then stuck around for another year. And then you brought in Danny Ford. It just never happened. That damn A&M game, I'm telling you, brother. I felt there was an energy problem, says Campbell. Yeah. Funny because after the bye week, our D shit the bed and the D looked passable. Yeah. Missouri State game, I agree, Ben. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong. I think Arkansas should be at a level where they can get 7 to 8 wins a year. They should be there. Arkansas should be at that point by now when you consider the kind of money they spend on travels for recruiting, all the things that you have on campus. I realize you're in the SEC and every school in this conference has great on-campus facilities. I get that. But then when you're talking about the regional influence Arkansas has, they have a little bit of an influence, even after the Chad Morris era. Even after the downfall of Brett Bielema, there's still an influence there. They're pipelined to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, right? This should be 8 wins a year shouldn't be impossible to ask, but it certainly seems like that's the case. Their conference record is not great since 1992. It's not great. I mean, Jack Crow put it best. Say what you want about Jack Crow, but Jack Crow, I found a random article. He was talking with, I think, Sports Illustrated. I think they were having a conversation about Frank Broyles, and Frank Broyles went to him. I swear to God, I don't think this was a fabricated. I think this was real. This is from SI. And Frank Broyles asked Jack Crow, again, that was the head coach that got fired after losing to Citadel. Again, say what you want. But he was right under this context in which he said, Frank, we're in the Southwest Conference now where we got to face a Texas every year. You're talking about moving to a conference where you got to play about 2 or 3 Texases every year. Is there anything wrong with that statement? Because at the time, Texas was Texas, right? Texas. I don't know. I think you can argue now, you've got an Alabama, and then you have a bunch of schools behind Alabama that are tough year in and year out and recruit at a really high level. So big time getting those two guys back. Jordan Dominic, Cameron Ball. That's where all this started. Let's talk about sorry. I don't have a water. I apologize. I have coffee. Trying to get my energy up. But no agua. Let's talk about the bowl projections really quick. I don't know if you guys saw this. Where is my bowl conversation at? Oh, here it is. This is bizarre. Bowl game scenarios for Arkansas. ESPN's, and this again coming from Otis Kirk at Hogville. He's talking about this article from ESPN. ESPN's Kyle Banagara, we've talked about his articles in here before, has a very interesting projection for the Hogs. He has Arkansas going back to Tampa and playing in the Relia Quest Bowl, formerly the Outback Bowl. Remember, Arkansas went there last year, beat Penn State. And they would face Brett Bielema's Illinois They take on Illinois, who have, I love their classic look, by the way, when they're on the field. I love their jersey combinations. I'm just saying. They have that old school football vibe, typical Big Ten football. It's one thing I do like about Big Ten football. They have that old school grit feel to them, like that very vintage look, and I dig it, man. I like some of the new stuff too, but some of that old school vintage just kicks ass. I don't know, and I like some of their old school looks. But there's several schools who have the similar color format. Taking on Brett Bielema. His explanation, there aren't many reasons to genuinely get excited to watch a 6-6 SEC team in a bowl game against a mediocre Big Ten team. But if Arkansas gets matched up with Illinois and former Arkansas Razorback head coach Brett Bielema, sign me up. Would you guys watch that? Is that a game that you would legitimately be excited for? I'm going to be real honest with you. I damn sure would. I don't know that you're a Razorback fan if you wouldn't be excited for that. Now, they finished 8-4. I think they're a better football team than Arkansas. I think the Big Ten is competitive, even though they're out in the West. They didn't have a lot of great teams in the West. Purdue finished 8-4. Iowa 7-5. Minnesota was surprisingly good at 8-4. Wisconsin went 6-6. He's already had to deal with playing Wisconsin, in which they won that game 34-10. They lost to Indiana, who ended up being 4-8. They lost to them 23-20. They lost to Michigan State, who ended up going 5-7. They lost to Purdue, who ended up the leaders in the Big Ten West. They lost that game 31-24. Purdue finished 8-4, like I said. But then they went on the road against Michigan and lost that game by 2 points, 19-17. Then they finished out the year beating the shit out of Northwestern 41-3. Northwestern was 1-11. I think Vanderbilt would beat that Northwestern ass, if I'm being honest. Hell, I think Vandy would have beaten Nebraska this year, gone toe to toe with everyone else in that conference. The teams that didn't go bowling, that is. Yeah, they'd get stumped. They'd get stomped against Michigan, Ohio State, probably Purdue and Illinois. Could you imagine that matchup with old Burt? I'd be all about it, man. We don't want any part of Illinois. No, they'd beat your ass. I think they would. I would take Illinois probably by double digits. I think they're, especially with the fact that Brett's a year one coach. What is the turnover going to look like versus Sam Pittman, a year 3 guy? Talking about being at their new school. No, wait. This is Bert's second, isn't it? Y'all, I might have had the flu. I don't know, because my memory is just all over the place. Was this his first year? Or was last year his first year? Regardless, you kind of wonder what it would be the backup bowl, like they all are. Newsflash, the majority of bowl games are going to be the backup bowl. That's what they are. Assuming you lose KJ, I don't think they do. I'm getting the feeling that KJ comes back, but I could be wrong. That'd be huge. It's year 2. Yeah. It's year 2. It's Bert's second year. Yeah. It feels like his first. I don't know why I thought that. Maybe I did have the flu. I'm telling you, man. There's some things have just slipped my mind entirely this week. Illinois would be a win. Illinois would win, but it'd be a low-scoring game. Yeah, their defense is legit. We know Barry Lane Jr. is the offense coordinator. They struggled on offense this year. They weren't very good. The bowl games are going to be the pre-spring game. Yeah, I think that's Hogs. I think that's a pretty accurate take. I agree. Their pre-spring games is all they are. They still bear some meaning, because if you win the game, you're going to hang the banner or whatever. Not hang the banner, but you're going to, you'll put that in writing in your media guides, win or lose. Like, there's still meaning to these games, but not near as much. Year 1 for Bear Loney. That's what it is. Yeah, it's Bear Loney's. Yeah, I think that's right. Bear Loney's first year. I wouldn't mind seeing. Oh, okay. Chase Hayden. I think he is. Yeah, I think Chase Hayden. I know he's got I think he has 1 or maybe 2. my God. I didn't okay that. One of my mods did. His wife is stupid hot. Listen, man, I'm going to respect the guy's wife. She is pretty. But she's stupid hot, bro. I did not okay that, but I'll allow it. He's not wrong. Yeah, I think he has a couple. Besides Barry Lunny, I think he has a couple of guys on his staff that either played for him at Arkansas or makes me cringe every time I hear someone say meaningless bowl game. They mean something to the teams and the fans. I'm going to have to partly disagree with that. I think they are more – I think they're not completely without meaning. Sure, the players are going to take them serious. That's fine. But ask someone if the Outback Bowl meant more 10 years ago than it did last year when you had all these opt-outs. Ask Penn State fans when you had all these opt-outs. When you have coordinators leaving, coaches leaving before the bowl game. Now, that's happened for a while, but it seems like it's becoming more and more common. We know players leaving has become way more common. The opt-outs are for real. I would argue that more and more fans are beginning to feel like bowl games are meaningless. That doesn't mean they're completely devoid of meaning. And I do agree, to the remaining staff, to the players who busted their ass all year, yeah, there's some meaning there for them. I agree with that. But for the people that pay the tickets, listen, you don't have players without the fans. You just don't, man. So I don't mean to say that they're completely meaningless, but they are becoming more and more meaningless. They feel like they're all leaky boats at this point. Until they get fixed, I don't know that 12 teams for the playoff expansion is legit or not. I don't know if that's going to be enough to fix it. It's going to make more bowl games more interesting. You're still going to have opt-outs. Those are still going to happen, but I think it would start to plug some more holes in that leaky ship. When you pay season ticket prices or game-to-game ticket prices, whether you're buying them on the street or online, whatever, and the product that you watched on the field, which involves those players who are a part of that product, they're not playing in a bowl game, they're opting out. Like, if we're going to sit here and act like that has no impact on a fan's interest to watch that game, I've got a 13-year-old nephew I would like for you to talk to about. Like, imagine going to him, and I'm not saying KJ's going to do this, but imagine going to him and saying, KJ's not playing. Wait, what? What? It's like Treylon Burke. And listen, they don't – listen, I don't want to go down this road again, but I understand why they opt out. I'm not saying how dare they. No, those players got to look out. I mean, their body is that's their product. Like, what they offer football teams, that's a part of the whole picture. You don't want to risk that for a bowl game. Now, if it's a more meaningful bowl game, I think the playoffs they're even more meaningful now, I think, because of all the opt-outs of the outside bowls. So, I have mixed emotions about that, about opt-outs, but I understand why they do it. I guarantee you, if I were in Treylon Burks' shoes, I'd probably do the same damn thing. I don't know. I don't know. Growing up a Razorback fan, maybe not. But something I would definitely mull over, I'll tell you that much. But I understand why these guys opt out. I get it. But I think it has had an impact on bowl games. Absolutely. It's had an impact. Let's see here. It'd be more about the storyline. Yeah, no, you're right, Cam. It would. It'd be more about the storyline than the game. Yeah. Tusky 6693 says Illinois game would definitely be interesting. I also wouldn't mind playing 6-6 Oklahoma. Yeah. I feel like more fans want that than they do any game, if I'm being real. Big program, neighboring state, and future conference opponent. Yes. Very good point, Tusky. If we lose KJ out for old Riker to light the place up. Let's see. Well, Mike had a rebuttal, but it's deleted. It's all meaningless outside the playoffs, says Fish. I don't know if I agree with that. To Mike's point, it does mean something to the players. It does mean something to the universities. It does mean something to the remaining coaching staff, absolutely. And there are fans out there who do still care about these bowl games, especially to the diehards, right? They want to win, they want to play, they want to be involved. Loving you is easy because you're beautiful. Doo-doo-doo-doo-doo. So, all right. Anyways, that was the crazy bowl take. I don't see it happening, to be honest with you. I see Liberty Bowl or Texas Bowl, if I'm being real honest. Let's talk about the transfer portal. Let's do that. Let's close out on a fun conversation. And there's quite a bit to this. So, again, I apologize. Fighting something. I need to be completely healed of this. Getting up early Sunday. And you guys will not hear from me until, like I said, probably the 11th or the 10th. Probably won't. I'll be back in the States on the 10th. And then probably be getting settled back in on the 11th and 12th. And I should be live again on the 13th. Joshua Braun, 6'6", 335-pound offensive lineman from Florida. Played for Florida. 26 appearances along the offensive line, including 7 starts during the 2021 season. He preserved his red shirt season by appearing in just 2 games for Florida, just this last season. It will be his fourth red shirt sophomore year at his next stop, so technically he should have 3 years of eligibility. Braun will be here tonight, I believe. Braun will be here with his parents. His wife is going to be here as well for an official visit. This is a guy that was a unanimous 4-star. I think ESPN had him rated really high. Was committed to Sam Pittman when he was at Georgia. He flipped his pledge to Florida and former coach Dan Mullen after Pittman was hired at Arkansas. He's familiar with offensive line coach Cody Kennedy, who was a graduate assistant at at Georgia in 2018. Announced his intentions in October 18th to hit the portal. Not long after that, I think he officially went into the portal sometime in November. He visited FSU for an unofficial. Was a consensus 4-star prospect. He was rated as high as the number 11 offensive tackle in the nation by ESPN in the 2020 class. Offers include Florida State, Penn State, Oklahoma State, Texas Tech, Central Florida, Duke, and others after announcing his transfer. Again, he made that unofficial visit to Florida State and Central Florida after entering the portal and is looking to officially visit others after his trip to Fayetteville. I think he's going to Florida State the following weekend. Florida State, I think, is a legit contender here. But I'm feeling really good about Braun coming to Arkansas. Being a graduate transfer, was able to enter the portal before December 5th because of those rules. Because of grad transfer rules. The date, all other FBS transfers can officially enter the portal, which is again December 5th. Has an official visit, back to FSU following his trip to Fayetteville, and will have 3 years of eligibility, like I stated earlier. This is a big-time kid, man. 6'6", 3. I think he's right at about 340. Big dude, can play a couple spots on the offensive line. Was rated really high as a tackle. It's a must-get out of the portal, if you want my opinion, We still don't know what Luke Jones is doing. I think Luke still has another year of eligibility, if I'm not mistaken. Joshua Braun would be a big get for Arkansas out of the portal. Absolutely. Wanted by a lot of schools. But again, I think your big competition right now is Florida State. So you have an advantage here. What's the window of opportunity look like here? Is it just a couple of weeks? I think he is eligible. He will be in for spring. Wherever he goes, he'll be eligible by spring. Andrew Armstrong's another one, 6'6", 189 pound. He said, we talked about this not long ago. He says he's closer to 6'4", 189 pounds, former Texas A&M Commerce wide receiver. He's set an official visit December 9th, not this weekend, but it'll be the 9th. As a sophomore for his team this season, he caught 62 passes for 1,000+ yards, 13 total touchdowns. Some say he's possibly the Hazelwood, the swap out for Hazelwood. I'd argue he's probably closer to Matt Landers. He's slender. He's built slender. a little more, you know, a little thinner. Doesn't have that same build. At least not that I've seen. Maybe I've seen some older photos. I've still haven't watched any film on him yet. Told Dudley I would yesterday, and I didn't. But he'll be here on the 9th. Jacoby Criswell is another guy who officially is not in the portal. He's not in the portal. He cannot enter the portal till the 5th, which will be Monday. I think 12 a.m. on the dot. I think you can put your name in the portal. Next Monday is the actual Exodus week or the beginning of it all, right? I think it's actually been going on for a while. It's ongoing, man. The portal and all this stuff, it's ongoing. But next week will be, I think it was Austin that said that next week. Everyone was freaking out about this last Monday, but it's really next Monday. I think there's, a lot of truth in that. I think next week is going to be wild because you can put your name in the portal and you can take it from there. Jacoby Criswell, 6'1", 225 pounds, sophomore quarterback at North Carolina from Morrilton, Arkansas. Again, expected to be in the portal on Monday. That is the expectation. We don't know that that's for sure. There's been a lot of rumors. He's following a lot of Arkansas people on Twitter. I think he followed Josh Teeter. I don't know that you look much into that. I mean, nothing against Teeter. I just think that, I'm sure Teeter has made the rounds, right? Teeter has a pretty large following. I'm sure he's seen Teeter. I don't know that his, being a U of A kid, I don't know if that has much to do with it. Maybe it does. But he has, talking about Jacoby Criswell, he's been at North Carolina for 3 years. His freshman year, so again, he's going to have 2 more years of eligibility because he played in 2020. He was on a roster in 2020 during the COVID year. He went 3 for 4 for 16 yards. With an interception. He finished the year, according to ESPN, of a QB rating of 58.6. That same year, he had 9 carries for 26 yards. He is considered a more mobile, kind of dual-threat quarterback. 2021, he had an opportunity here. 13 of 21, 62% pass completion ratio. Really 61.9, but whatever. We'll round up. 179 yards, 1 touchdown. He had a 47-yarder. His longest throw, his longest completion from the line of scrimmage. And he finished 2021 with a rating of 149.2. And then 2022, he gets passed up again. That's kind of been the issue, right? He's been passed up by these phenom quarterbacks, these kids at North Carolina. I don't know what it is. North Carolina's finding them some big-time QBs. He's been passed up by them both. 2022, he threw the ball 5 times. He was 1 for 5 for 4 yards. He did, by the way, his freshman year, he did throw an interception. Now, ESPN, I don't know if I'm looking at this wrong, but ESPN says he has 4 touchdowns. I'm only counting 2. I don't know I'm not sure. He has 1 rushing and 1 passing that I can see. But they say if you look on the top right on his bio on his ESPN page, it says 4 touchdowns, but it also says zero. I'm sorry, it says 4 yards. My bad. God, 4 yards. I looked at that entirely wrong. So that does make sense. Here's your warning. Don't ever try to do this when you feel like shit. But one completion for 4 yards. 1 out of 5. It's not like he threw the ball a ton. But again, he does have now it does show 0. Okay, that's 2022 season stats. 1 touchdown, 1 pick in his career at North Carolina. He has run the ball pretty effectively. 2021, he ran the ball 7 times for 68 yards. This last year, he had the opportunity. He has 2 carries from the line of scrimmage for 20 yards. So his career average is 6.3 yards for 114 yards off 18 carries. 17 of 30, completion percentage of 56.7. 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Yeah. I don't know. So it feels like so much of Arkansas's future is in the hands of either Kendall Briles or KJ Jefferson. Because if he does leave, then yeah, clearly they're going to go after. I mean, Chris, if he's in the portal, if he goes into the portal, which everything I understand, he's planning on going in the portal, and it may not be Monday. He may wait. I don't know. He may wait. You can do that, but they'll absolutely go after him. And then what happens if is Kendall back? What's going on between KJ and Kendall? And then what does that look like for your offense coordinator? Do you give Dow Loggins? Is he the next guy up? That's always been the rumor. That's been the rumor all of last season during the offseason, all this year, and now this offseason until something happens. That's gonna be the narrative. Oh well, it's Loggins, it's his job. So then what does that mean? Would Jacoby Criswell be the guy? Is that your starting quarterback and Loggins is your OC? Is that a scenario you could see playing out? I could. Yeah. I feel like KJ comes back, but so much of it, it's like whatever happens to one is going to affect the other. Obviously, that's just how this works. Whether that's Kendall goes and KJ stays, I could see that happening. I don't have a crystal ball. These next several weeks are going to be really interesting. Kendall Briles, his name is going to be linked. It's already been linked to several OC or head coaching jobs. So we'll see what happens here. And if he goes, what happens to KJ? If KJ goes, does Kendall kind of rethink the job market a little bit? Well, I don't know if I want to work with Jacoby Criswell or not. Well, there's other quarterbacks out there. I'm not saying that this would be the only guy. If they zeroed in on Jacoby, it doesn't mean that they get him. A lot of smoke coming from media people as well. That he's going to be in the portal and that he has interest in going to Arkansas. There's legit smoke there. I don't know that there's fire yet. There will be fire when he comes on his visit, if he has one. We'll find out more on the 5th. KB stays if Pittman calls red zone plays. Tear him a new hole, Ty. Who? Not Ty slacking on his homework. What homework did I slack on? Was it the film? Is that what you're talking about? Me not watching film? Come on home, Criswell, says Eric Dwayne. Yeah, I don't think it's fair to look at his career stats and be like, well, there you go. That tells the whole story. I don't think that's fair. Or the fact that he got passed up by 2 phenom quarterbacks. I don't know. By the way, Criswell had followed a lot of Hogs fan media, not just Teeter. I don't know. I'll be honest. I've only talked to 2 other people. Neither one of them mentioned anything other than, well, I know that he had followed some Arkansas fans. But see, he was doing that too during his recruiting process as well. So what head coaching jobs has been rumored besides FAU has been filled. I would think he's interested in Texas State. Yeah. That would make sense, wouldn't it, Cody, going back to Texas? I agree with that. Yeah, I could see Texas State. He is saying that KJ and Kendall's decisions affect each other. Oh, responding to Scott. Okay, did you say KJ is probably going in the portal? I didn't catch it. No. No, I think what's more likely for KJ at the end of the day, I think what's most likely is that KJ goes pro. I think that's the more likely scenario. I have a hard time seeing him going into the portal right now, even if KB leaves. I think if KB leaves, one will affect the other, one way or another. It feels that way. Again, I'm not saying that is the case. I don't know that. I don't have a crystal ball. It just feels that way. Or maybe not, man. Maybe KJ's all hog, and he's dedicated to Sam Pittman and believes he needs to come back another year. But if there was a likely scenario or a list of scenarios laid out in front of me, what would those scenarios be? One of them would be him hitting or going early for the draft. I'm not saying he would get drafted. I saw some of I posted that on Twitter yesterday. I said Sam Pittman's number one prospect is KJ Jefferson on his recruiting board. And I think that's accurate. I think it's true. If you lose KJ, I don't know, man. You're putting a lot on either Kendall, a new OC, and a new quarterback. Malachi Singleton, I just don't see a true freshman. Malachi is, I think, a good player. And then that's the other question. What happens if Kendall does go? Do you keep Malachi Singleton? That's just the way these things work. Now, as I understand it, Malachi really likes Sam. So, you just don't know. If KJ goes pro, we will suck with our quarterback. Texas State already filled. Oh, is it? Okay. Who took that job? Campbell, if you don't mind my asking. Again, I'll be real honest, man. I've been in bed a lot this week and on the couch trying to chill and take it easy. Doing my best to keep up with it all. Also, we're keeping it up to date. Our transfer portal information or news. Tuss Talk with Ty Discord. I don't know if John is still in here or not, but I'll throw an invite out for anyone who isn't in there yet. We have a whole page dedicated. Oh, Jesus. I did not mean to do that. Whoops. My bad. Here we go. I just sent a random invite. GJ Kine? Oh, okay. All right. Oh, there's Hogs with the Discord invite. Appreciate that, man. Appreciate that. All right. So, yeah. A lot of portal stuff going on here. And this weekend's going to be huge. It's going to be a big weekend, man. By the way, we also have Arkansas, San Jose State happening tomorrow. What is the time on that? I know it's later in the afternoon, is it not? I know tomorrow. I won't be available. We got some stuff going on. 3 p.m. Okay, yeah, because after that, I'll be able to watch it. I won't be able to cover it. I won't be able to do postgame with it on Hogville, but Kevin McPherson will be available for you guys to do the postgame. If KJ leaves, I pray McAdoo goes to Pittman about playing quarterback. Hey, it worked at corner. I don't know about all that. I don't know about all that. They'd go to Malachi Singleton before they'd go to. You want to keep McAdoo at corner, no doubt. You want to keep him at corner, right? Who knew Wagner made an NIL deal with WWE? That's old news, Bamsey. He did that during the last offseason, I think. All right. I do appreciate you guys. I'm going to go get a haircut, I guess. Shout out to sponsors. Direct Service Overhead, Apex Tattoo Studio. Both those companies for being here, sponsoring what I do. You guys who are here in live chat, and, of course, Patreon supporters. This will be the last you hear from your boy until probably, like I said, the 12th. And we'll get caught up. I expect a lot to happen next week. I'm not even lying. I expect a lot to happen next week. I think it's going to be crazy. Keep an eye on the Florida offense, the offensive lineman. Braun does have another visit to Florida State, and I think he's going to try and set up some more. I already talked about Andrew Armstrong, the 6'4", but 6'6", wide receiver out of A&M Commerce, Texas A&M Commerce, and Jacoby Criswell. Those are names. Again, Criswell not in the portal yet, but it is rumored that he's going to be in the portal next week. You never know. North Carolina might talk him into staying, but I don't see that happening. I also don't see him going to the portal and automatically being a Hog. But I will tell you, no, I shouldn't say I don't see that. I do actually see him being a Hog. If I'm being real honest with you, I think he ends up being a Razorback. But it wouldn't shock me. Again, a lot of variables in these equations when you're talking about these guys coming out of the portal. I think Criswell would fit Kendall Briles and what he does here really well. It would, at this point, if he did enter the portal, it would surprise me if he didn't go to Arkansas. I'm not saying it won't happen or that it will 100% happen. He's going to be a Hog. I'm just saying, when it comes to the portal, nothing should shock anybody. Ever. The portal is crazy, but I love it. I love it. I love what the portal's done. It has changed the game of college football. I know it's going to, you live by the portal, you die by the portal. That is absolutely true. There are going to be players, I think, not that I know this, I've not heard this yet. I feel like you're probably going to have some people in that portal that people are going to pull their hair out over. Could absolutely happen. I saw Rocket Sanders' name was rumored. I think in Ole Miss, I saw a screenshot. Ole Miss people are saying that Rocket's going into the portal. 95% don't believe that. There's going to be a lot of smoke, the bad kind of smoke, not the good kind of smoke. You know, when there's smoke, there's fire. I'm not talking about that. I think bullshit smoke, right? Look out for the bullshit smoke. There's going to be a lot of that. Don't panic. Just wait to see what happens. That's the one part I'm going to hate about next week, not being here, not being able to track some of this stuff. But, from the 5th on, it's going to be wild. So, you expecting any surprises in the portal? Mainly guys who didn't. Well, I don't know. Yeah, I fully believe there's going to be more. We talked about it. There were last year, you had Kellen Burrow, Dorian Gerald, who then took his name back out. Matial Soli, who ended up going to Hawaii. Lucas Coley. I think this was all. That was in April. Lucas Coley. Andrew Parker. Remember him? Andrew Parker was supposed to be pretty good. He ended up transferring to Mid-Tennessee State. Traylon Smith went to TCU. John David White, who was a walk-on, but still, he's got a brother, Arkansas's recruiting quarterback, who's pretty fantastic. Jalen Williams, Malik Hornsby, in and out of the portal, back in the portal. Gregory Brooks, Joseph Fouché, Kendall Catalon, Nick Turner, Devin Bush, Ray Curry. It was like 20 names that ended up in the portal or leaving the program at one point or another, mostly during last season's offseason. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. A lot of people. Who the hell saw Fouché and Gregory Brooks heading into the portal going to LSU? I didn't. I didn't see that happening. Didn't see Solomon Wright leaving either. Was kind of surprised by that. He ended up going to Oklahoma State. JT Towers was another one, considering how thin we thought we were at linebacker at the time. Jermaine Hamilton Jordan. So, yeah, I fully expect more in the portal at some point. All right. We're at an hour and 11 minutes. Good show. I appreciate each and every one of you. Remember, like, share, subscribe. Thank you for the super chat, Brian Frazier. I appreciate that, Jay Carpenter. I've been to Mexico before. I've been there. Yeah, you got to be careful. The Fouché and Brooks are natives of Louisiana. They wanted to play for their home state. Yeah, but Chris, no one saw that coming. No one saw those guys. They had solidified as starters at Arkansas going into an offseason where we thought Arkansas was going to be a lot better than they were, sure, but no, I don't care what anybody says. No one saw that coming. In fact, I remember the panic after they went into the portal. Yeah, it makes sense now why they went back. Sure, they went home. Okay, fine. But at the time, nobody saw that coming. So I think you're going to have a couple. You might have a couple more of those. So far, no one on that list surprises me. Nobody. Maybe Reed Bauer a little bit. No one else does. Oh, where was this take a little while ago, man? I want to. The transfer portal is not good for college athletics. Sends a message to the kids that it is okay to not live up to your commitment. What about coaches, Chris? Coaches come and go all the time. I disagree. I think if a quarterback, I mean, look at Felipe Franks, man. Had he stayed at Florida, what would have happened? I don't think he would have had the shot in the NFL that he has. Now, there are kids it's not going to work out for. It's not going to be better. Mike Woods, again, we always bring him up because that one was shocking. That was another one that shocked us, right? Not long ago. Didn't work out for him necessarily. But you have to – now, I would argue that the schools do need to do their best at convincing these kids, like, look, it doesn't necessarily mean – and I'm sure they're doing this. I'm sure coaching staffs are doing this. Doesn't necessarily mean the grass is always greener, and that's absolutely true. But if a kid is, especially these quarterbacks, and we're seeing it year in and year out, if they're not going to be given an opportunity because some potential all-American, all-conference caliber quarterback is going to take their spot, then why can't that quarterback, that backup quarterback, not go and get another opportunity in another school? No, I disagree. NIL is not good for Chris. I'm getting the vibe you're like 55 or 60. These are very boomer takes, man. I have a few of my own boomer takes, but that I just disagree, man. No, I think the NIL is good for football. Absolutely. These kids should be why can't an 18-year-old kid make a dime off his own name? Especially when he's a part of the machine that's selling tickets, right? No, I disagree. I think NIL is good. Transfer portal can suck, but at the same time, it can also be very beneficial. And Arkansas has benefited from the portal, and it's also hit them. It's hit them square in the nuts. It has. I think Fouché and Brooks, Woods, those guys leaving, hit them square in the nuts. Those are hard things to overcome. You know, after Woods left, Arkansas still went on and won 9 games. Fouché and Brooks leaving hit the secondary. I agree with that, but a kid should be left up to make that decision for themselves. The school should not hold a kid prisoner. I don't agree with that at all. The portal could be a motivator for student athletes also. Maybe not where they are, but maybe where they are headed. Yeah. You think about those smaller schools too, those kids, and I hate it for the smaller schools, and that's where I understand some of the skepticism. Like if a kid is a standout at New Mexico State, he's going to screw that program. He's going to leave, and it's going to kill that program. And you're going to have that happen every year, but I think time will eventually sort this all out. But I think these kids ought to have the opportunity. I just do. If you can pay a coach $20 million to leave, you can pay the players. Michael Wilmoth with a freaking grand slam right there. Yeah. And I'll tell you another thing. I like that these kids can make – listen, man, I don't get political here, but I am a fan of free market economy. I'm a fan of the free market. I'm a fan of it. And telling an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, hey, no, you can't make a dollar off of what you're doing in college. You can't do that. That's asinine to me. That's crazy. That's nuts. I also think, it presents a lot more opportunities for these kids. And it can also work to your benefit as a program. They can work to your benefit, man. Now, there's going to be a lot of, we're going over something we talked about ages ago, but you're opening up Pandora's box. But let's not sit here and act like cheating hasn't always happened in college athletics. If you believe that all of a sudden that now all these programs are cheating and taking advantage of the NIL, brother, where have you been for the last 50 years. There's documentaries made. Go watch the Pony Express. That happened before I was even born, before a lot of you were born. Cheating has always been a part of college athletics. I hate to tell you. I hate to break it to you. Coaches can leave whenever they want and don't commit to an actual contract. Dumb take, Chris. I agree, Wilson. Cough, cough, Jerry Jacobs and Terry Hampton. Cough, cough. Yeah. No, I think a kid should absolutely be given the opportunity to move around. I would advise these kids do need better advisors around them. Maybe people that aren't even a part of the university. They need smart people around them that looks out for their best interest. Listen, just because you're going to Oklahoma, Mike Woods, it doesn't mean that it's going to be better. Now, if there's stuff going on behind the scenes that we're unaware of, then whatever. But no, if he wants to, we shouldn't hold a kid hostage. And then I wonder how many of those kids over the years just burned out. Why not give them an opportunity to go somewhere else? And it may even be a smaller school, but they ball out at a smaller school. Think about it. Without the portal this year, where's Arkansas at? Where are you at without Drew Sanders? You talk about an impact that kid has had. Jordan Dominic, who ended up with 7 sacks on the year. Dwight McLaughlin. I'd even argue Latavius Brinney because he broke into the two deep and became a starter and actually pretty solid player. Hazelwood, Matt Landers. Where are you at without these transfers? I'm just saying. So, yeah, again, I just strongly disagree. All right. Transfers. Without transfers, Arkansas's 3-9. I know what you're trying to say, Campbell. Yeah, without the transfers, you're not making a bowl game this year. So, just saying. Yeah. All right, now we're going to end this bad boy. I'm going to go get my hair cut, go grab some lunch. I really do appreciate you guys. Even the not-so-great takes from Chris Saxon. It's all right. We're just going to have to agree to disagree, Chris. That's okay. You don't like NIL and transfer, that's fine. I do. I think now that we're starting to understand it more, you have opened up Pandora's box. It's there are things that need to be fixed. I fully agree with that. There are things, maybe we can put a cap on how many times can you transfer. Wait a minute, hold up. If you're going to transfer, now there is a rule. If you transfer, I think twice within a year, you have to set out, I think is the official rule according to the NCAA, no matter the sport. And that makes sense. Like at that point, it's like, okay, hold on. There has to be some structure in place. Fully agree with that. NIL stuff, I think the NCAA did a really poor job of opening up that box. But then it's like now they've opened themselves up to litigation because now if they try to step in and say, well, no, we're going to have to put a cap on that. Well, now I think you're going to have suing. It's crazy. But I'm for these things. And I think they have made college football better already. I do. It's fine to disagree with me. Throw some takes at me. Tell me why I'm wrong. For anyone watching this later, here, Ty, consider this. Don't go, hey, fat mouth, this is why you're wrong. I'm not going to take you as serious. Give me an honest to God, here's why I don't like it. That's what I think we're missing a lot today, right? Because of social media. Can't just have a conversation. I'd love a call-in. I would love when we do the next call-in, hey, Ty, this is what I'm thinking. I don't know that I agree with NIL. Here's why. We can have a conversation about it. I don't know that you'll change my mind much. I've given a lot of thought to the NIL stuff. I've given my thoughts on opt-outs. I'm sure some of you disagree with me on that, on opt-outs. I'm not the biggest fan of it. But I also understand where a player's coming from. You don't want to risk millions of dollars for a quote-unquote meaningless bowl game. I mean, at the end of the day, what is it really? Not fully, not completely devoid of meaning, but yeah. So, I think, give me a good argument. Like, here we go. This is what I'm thinking, Ty. That's the kind of stuff I'm going to respond to. Like, okay, I'm listening, right? All right, we're at an hour and 21 minutes, hour and 22 coming up. I'm done now. I'm done. You guys have had enough of me until till the 12th, till around mid-December. I'll be back. we'll try to unwind what has happened during my vacancy or while I'm gone. I do appreciate you guys. I really do. Even the people that may not agree with me, who'll slam me somewhere on social media. That's fine. I still love you. I'll talk to you guys then. Be careful. Be safe. Go Hogs.